party people, welcome to another weird little video. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Thank you so much for subscribing if you do. If you don't, you should. I hope this video finds you well. If you've been a longtime subscriber, you'll remember that this is kind of how it all began for me on YouTube. I sat down and just sort of spilled my guts about sobriety, and that's what I wanted to do today because I've got some stuff on my mind. You'll see from the title that this movie okay, calm down. This video is about hard truths in sobriety, which there are many, but I wanted to sort of preface by saying that like sobriety is awesome, and I obviously want to sell sobriety to anybody who needs it, because it's a great way to live. But there are so many things that make sobriety super duper difficult, and I know that I am a person who has a difficult time letting people know when I'm struggling. Like, I have a hard time letting that show, and especially when it comes to sobriety, because I'm often afraid that if I tell people, oh, I'm struggling with my addiction or my sobriety, that they're gonna sort of like push away and back away, and I get that. Like, sobriety is kind of a scary thing, and relapse and worrying about a friend's relapse, like, that's a lot. But when I say I'm struggling with my addiction, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm afraid I'm gonna relapse. Not that there's anything wrong with relapse. If you're going through that, that's it is what it is. But you know, there are so many different things about sobriety that are really difficult, is what I'm trying to say. So I wanted to kind of go through my top 5 favorite sobriety struggles. Number one thing I've been dealing with lately is sort of just like a loss of identity a little bit, and like a loss of self, and a lot of that comes from, I think, being just like triggered by a lot of the things that made you when you were using, like music and people and places. And I know for me, some of my best, most nostalgic, warm and fuzzy memories involve drinking. And while they're like nice and warm and fuzzy, and they maybe involve people that I love or things that I love, I know that I was sort of like just on this path of self-destruction while that lovely time was happening. So you need to sort of rediscover yourself in sobriety, and that's such a task. I am almost 2 years into my sobriety, and I don't know, it's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to figure out who you are. So I guess that's my number one, is just sort of like, who am I? What am I doing? What's happening? Who are my friends? What kind of music do I like? Like, I don't know. It's like a whole thing. Which kind of leads me to number 2, I guess, which is like, you're gonna continue to miss using. It's a difficult thing to wrap your head around, because it's like, you'll go a really long time without like any sort of like urges or craving, and then suddenly it's like you'll just miss it. You know, you miss your friends, you miss the whole experience of just bonding and camaraderie, and you know, there's really nothing quite like it, honestly. You know, I think when I was earlier on in my sobriety, I would have said like, oh, I don't think that you actually make really like real connections with people when you're using because you're drunk or whatever. But like, honestly, there's just nothing like it in sobriety. I mean, there is, but it takes so much more time. If I'm gonna be completely honest, it seems like it was a lot easier to make friends when I was drinking. So maybe that's just me. Maybe I just need to be more friendly and open, but I don't know. It is what it is. It's easy to miss. Another aspect of sobriety that is rough is like guilt, I guess, is what it is. This is a tough one to talk about. I've always been like a really guilty conscience type person, and I have a hard time, I guess, accepting that I'm like good and that people like me. And an important aspect of sobriety, honestly, is that you need to let go of that. Like, you just can't constantly be concerned about how people think of you. But at the same time, I feel bad about like my past behavior and also like lost time, and I feel bad about what it must have done to my parents or, you know, my friends and my friendships, and it's really hard to let go of that. And honestly, it doesn't really get better when you get sober, because I still feel like I isolate myself and I'm not a very good friend, you know. Like I said in my very first video, you know, you get sober and you feel like you're just gonna flip a switch and it's gonna just make you better. And it totally doesn't. So, yay. You still have to like constantly be like just working on yourself. And it's really hard and it makes you feel guilty sometimes. But I guess that's an important thing I'm learning right now, is that you have to just let it go, because you can't always be worried about what other people think of you. Another super fun thing about sobriety is that people will stop inviting you to things, which like makes sense, especially in the beginning, because I know for me, for the first like year I was sober, probably, I had to just like turn down invitations all the time. Like I couldn't just go and do whatever I wanted with whoever I wanted, because it was risky for me. So I get it, you know, the invitations are gonna slow down. But then it kind of gets weird from there, because it's like, you know, when does a sober person regain the ability to like go to parties, you know, where people are drinking? Because like nowadays I can go to in an environment where people are drinking and I don't care. I genuinely don't care. I'm able to just enjoy the people and the experience or whatever. But, you know, when is that? And also like when as a friend do you start inviting people to stuff when they're sober? So I guess maybe this is more my advice to people who aren't struggling with their sobriety or addiction. Maybe just always invite the sober person, you know, no pressure, but I'm going to invite you to everything because I want you to be there eventually, you know. Not that anybody has to feel an obligation to invite me to anything. If you don't want me there, that's your business. I don't care. But it definitely, you know, it's something, you can see it before your eyes when you get sober. People are just kind of like, I don't know. So, yeah, not their fault at all. And then I guess the big thing with sobriety that's just like obvious, it's an obvious struggle, but it's one that never fails to catch you off guard. It's that you'll have urges always. You'll go a really long time without feeling the urge to drink or to use or whatever, and you feel like your life is like pretty much on track, and then suddenly you'll have this urge and you're like, it's almost like mind-blowing. You're just like, wow. It's like it's really confusing, because it's like, wow, it really puts you in your place. It's really like a reminder of like who you are and like what reality is. It's a big old reality check. And it's hard. I mean, over time it gets easier because you have like coping tools to deal with your addiction. It's harder to deal with the emotional stuff, but that's not to say that the like physical urge isn't still going to be there. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. You never get too comfortable because the urge is gonna bubble up. And that's really all I had to say. I don't know. I take in so much content about sobriety, like on the internet, and I don't really share anything anymore. So it's all just like knocking around inside my head. So I feel like I have to get it out. But I hope you guys like this weird little video. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm filming this on my phone because my camera battery actually died, but I feel like it's very appropriate because this is exactly how I filmed all my videos in the very beginning. I don't think I'm gonna make a video of like my top 5 favorite things about being sober, because I don't know, I just don't think that's necessary. Like, being sober is great in itself, and anybody who struggles with addiction will like get that, I think. And yeah, like obviously there are hard things about it, but it's the goal at the end of the day. It's the prize in itself, you know. It's just getting to be free of your addiction on a day-to-day basis. Anyway, I love you guys and I would do anything for you, and thanks again for watching, and make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel, And follow me everywhere at Finley Tucker. I'm on Twitter a lot, so come and find me there. And I'll catch you guys soon with another weird little video.